Serral is here and Classic is here. Right on time, because I guess we did have a couple of shorter games after a pretty long opening series, so I'm at least happy about that. Yeah, I did ping him as well. I pinged him yesterday. I was like, just a reminder, tomorrow. And then I pinged him today, like 4 hours before the series was going to start. Like, hey, in approximately 4 hours. So I did a triple check to see if I could get him here. Like, with a couple of, like, I know for Beyond or something, I don't have to worry. But, like, Classic, I'm not that familiar with when it comes to online interactions. Obviously, I know him very well as a player. And in real life, I know him very well, but this is not normally the time that we get to see Classic, so I triple checked to make sure that he'd be here, but he's here. Classic is asking, do you know the map list? It's like, I gave everybody the map list, guys. HeroMarine as well, asking for the map list. It is literally in the DM. It is, and I even put the map list right above the link where they have to sign up to get paid quickly. Everybody gets paid like within 48 hours of the Big Brain Bouts, always. And I know that gamers are very good in filling stuff in if they get paid. So I put the map list right above it on purpose. So I was like, hey, if they see the link, they should see the map list too. But apparently it doesn't really work. No, I didn't ping Sarah. Sarah, I don't have to ping multiple times. Sarah, I just contact once. I'm like, hey, Yona, how's Friday night looking? And if he says he's in, I give him his opponent, and that's it. I don't need to ping Sarah multiple times. It's also like, it's a Basilisk event, right? So obviously I know that Serral is going to be here. Quiz them first. Maybe we should have a portal on the link that they fill in to get paid and be like, hey, the map order for Friday night is the following. And in case you forget, it's also in the DM with the link where you get paid. And they have to press forward until they can actually fill in their details. Yeah, that would help. Alright, guys, so it's going to take a couple minutes. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Enki is whispering me. You can if you ask me in advance, maybe. You absolutely could if you would ask in advance. He's offline. Okay. And after submitting their payment. No. We try to make it as easy as the game is as possible, and I think that is why, for instance, when Lambo made his video about how he sees all the online tournaments and what he likes and what he doesn't like, I think Lambo also single-handedly mentioned the Big Brain Bouts as a very good event for gamers, that is very easy. You show up, you play one series, you always get something, even if you lose. Not trying to make it annoying for the players, trying to make it simple. Trying to do something nice in the space, that's what it's all about, right? And I think now for 94 Fridays, we have given you guys something to look forward to. And then we even had one or two big separate events. There's a lot of Neo Sim here. We can take a little look at it while we wait for the veto process to be done. We can go over it. I've looked at it a few times, guys, but I still don't even know all the details. EWC 2025, Starcraft. So this is the page, I believe. 700,000 is the total prize money. What we speculated over a few weeks ago has indeed happened. Clem did get an invite because he is the reigning defending world champ. So we're going to have an online qualifier for Korea. Yeah, okay. So we have an online Korea qualifier. We have an online European qualifier. We have an online America qualifier. Online Asia. This must mean like everything besides South Korea. Even though South Korea is obviously in Asia, but if there is exclusive Korea qualifiers, I assume this is for everybody that is Asian and is not South Korean. Then the winner of GSL 2025 Season 1 also gets invited. Top 4 of Dallas. The winner of our Bulgarian event from the global qualifier into play-in stage. Okay. Don't really know what this means yet, but I guess if you fill everywhere here, there is one last shot for the gamers to make it into the main event. No dates. There's been no dates yet about this. Yeah, sorry, 2 people from GSL, so the 2 finalists. Not one. Season 1, but 2 players. And global follower is everybody. So that will probably most likely be a mixture of Europeans and Koreans making it. If there will be a non-Korean or non-European making it through that global qualifier, I'd be very surprised. Like maybe how many NA players? Actually, like maybe like a Scarlett special or Trigger, right? If they don't qualify through America and they don't qualify through Dallas, I can maybe see like Scarlett and or Australia, right? Australia, Scarlett's special Trigger, maybe. Yeah. Chinese play, perhaps Firefly, right? If he doesn't win the Asia qualifier, like Firefly Coffee, perhaps, but Dallas is on the weekend of the 23rd of May. Special needs to get in that kind of shape to be in contention. It's not easy. I mean, it's going to be hard for everyone, guys. I really think we're going to see so many good qualifiers. I love qualifiers. Sometimes I'm even more excited for qualifiers than I am for the main event, because the main event is incredibly exciting, but you kind of have like 4, 5, 6 top favorites, and most of the time they deliver. I think qualifiers, there's a little more wiggle room for some really cool stuff to happen. I can't. Enki is whispering me, but I cannot whisper him back. Why is he whispering me? But then whenever I answer him, he is listed as offline, and I can't talk to him. But yep, ready. All right, guys. Main event: Serral versus Classic. I'll be honest. I kind of wanted Hero, but Hero said, "Roddy, I'm sorry. I've had so many long nights, and I have a big appointment on the Saturday morning, so I prefer to get my sleep. But maybe some other time." And he said, "What about Classic?" And I was like, all right. Hero, if you want to feed Classic to Serral, we'll give Classic to Serral. I asked Serral as well, and Serral said, doesn't mind, I'm down to play against anybody, but it would be fun to play against someone else other than MaxPax and Clem, because I already play them 30 times a month. And I was like, all right, Jonah, that's fair. And of course, I want to make my goat happy a little bit, so here we go. Last Fantasy. What a map, by the way. Big Brain Bouts, the main event, number 94. Let's do it.
Let's get it on. Round 1, fight.
Let's not forget that when it comes to Gamers 8 and EWC, this man has had a couple of great series, especially in this matchup. And there was also an era in Heart of the Swarm where he was close to invincible in this matchup. One of the best Protoss players to ever touch this beautiful game. It is Classic. And in the top side of Last Fantasy, we are looking at the main base of the undisputed GOAT of Starcraft 2, at least in my eyes and in the eyes of a lot of Starcraft fans, representing BASILISK, the Finnish Phenom. It is Serral. Who picked this map? I don't know. We were going over the qualifiers. They had their veto process. This is cool, by the way. I really kind of like this kind of advertising in StarCraft 2, man. I love it. And I've told you guys my wishes and dreams. If I could have it my way, I feel like Red Bull should sponsor a tournament, and then the Hellions turn into like little Red Bull F1 cars. Oh my god. Or Ferrari. Anything. Can we just make it happen? Can I get F1 cars as my Hellions? It'd be so cool. I would absolutely love that. This map was first place in TLMC 20 from the popular community vote. So when I looked at this map, it gave me some merry-go-round vibes, if you guys remember that map. And then also a little bit of Dreamcatcher. The middle is very wild. Like a bit of a mix between Dreamcatcher and merry-go-round. Ferrari Hellions and Ford Siege tanks. Yeah, the tank should be a Ford F-150. Serral has found Classic in the bottom left side. Yes, Classic will most likely open things up with a Stargate. This seems like a Stargate map. It's a very large map. It seems like it would take a long time for a couple of adepts to casually shade to the other side and do some damage. And I'll say Catalina. Catalina is a map that I think of often because we had that opening day at BlizzCon back then with so many good games. We had 8 best of 5s on a single day of an opening BlizzCon weekend. And 7 out of the 8 best of 5s were absolutely awesome. Well, 6 of them were like world class, 1 of them was good, and then only 1 series was bad. That's like one of my favorite StarCraft days ever. And back then we did play on Catalina. Pold was playing, I think Classic was playing as well. Just to show the longevity of this man's career. I don't think this is qualified as a rush map. I know there's a couple speed zones, but this should not be qualified as a rush map. I like the name as well, Last Fantasy. This, by the way, guys, I'm so ready to represent. And no, the Big Brain Bouts is absolutely not brought to you guys by Monster Energy, but hey, we're always open to stuff. But it's not. I just like Monster. And apparently the TOMC has been loving Monster for a long time. There's a lot of tournaments to look forward to, Phil. And there is technically a little circuit leading up to EWC, but it's not the same as in the past. Classic is gonna let his Adept Shake finish up. Guns down 3 rounds. This is a good start for Classic now. How much more can he get? Unfortunately for Classic, not that much. Man, if this Oracle would have gone straight into the main with the Spore. No, it's stuck, it's stuck. Oh. Looked promising, and in the end, not all that good. If this Oracle, guys, goes straight into the main, with that Spore Crawl only halfway done, I actually think Classic kills another 5 drones. Yeah, unfortunately there is no space at all. At least we don't have to worry about Banshees, Ravens and Widowmines being annoying. But it also means as a Protoss player, you're gonna have a tougher time keeping them Oracles alive. Hello, bully. I saw that you wrote me, but I didn't have time to go over it yet. I just hope you know I love you and you're always appreciated, mate. That's all that matters to me. We had fun. Classic still has double Oracle, which obviously means that he has made 3 Oracles. It's gonna be a lot harder now. I think this is normally that phase in the game where Serral does not really lose anything. No, Classic does get 2 drones that were in transit from the main to the natural, but another Oracle gets sniped from the low ground. Serral must have upgraded range on his queens or something. They shot from very far away. Marksman with range. Sledgehammers with range, queens with range. Everything gets range these days. -2 Oracles is very painful. Starcraft 2 at the highest level is an incredibly brutal game. And obviously everything that includes Serral is the absolute highest level. Making 3 Oracles, losing 2 of them for 7 drones is... It's rough. It could be worse. We could have killed even less drones, but... It's 2 Adepts as well from the early game. And then Classic, his best shot is just to kind of dig in his heels here and play a very defensive style. But yeah, doing that against Serral is so freaking scary. Because you know that Serral's late game is second to none. Pretty quick Templar Archives by Classic. Historically, Classic has been a very strong defensive Protoss. Doesn't quite have the same reputation as Stats in his prime had, but I do think that he has been a lot more defensive throughout his career than guys like SOS or Hero. Or even Creator. I think Creator is a bit more of a YOLO Protoss too. Now people do often like to switch it up when they play against Serral, just to come up with some things. Overall, it's safe to say that Classic is going to have to step it up a little bit throughout this best of 5 if he truly wants to make this close and he wants to create a crazy upset. So far, this is not good enough. Somehow, drones are dying. I'm kind of confused to what. What were those drones dying? Maybe some random adepts? The Zealot charge not done yet. Oracle was with the Stalkers. Tiny bit confusing. This map, by the way, it feels really large, mate. Feels like it would take so long. I mean, obviously with the speed zone it goes a lot quicker. Classic needs to be very, very cautious here. He is researching +2. He's got Zealot charge on the way. Storm 30% done. Serral continues to be annoying with a couple of Zerglings in the bottom side. We have 1 Adept left behind, so that's good enough. The roach count is quite high, and 29 roaches. Uh-oh. Classic needs to recall, man. Like, Classic really needs to recall. This is not something you want to fight with a couple of Zealots and High Templars. This army needs to blink and recall, please. That is exactly what he does. We recall to the natural. I think that's okay. Storm still not done though. We don't want to lose the High Templars. We could maybe morph them into our clones, but it doesn't seem that that's what Classic wants to do. Needs more overlords on the production tab. Classic does find a few units here for free. We need to... Omega close there with the pylon warping. Those Zerglings were less than half a second away from just running into the natural and making life very hard. Classic needs to be so careful. He is fully surrounded. The roaches of Serral are coming in from the top left and the right side. Now Stalkers can take a good fight, but we burrow the roaches too. Archons get picked off. There is a revelation that got dropped. Serral probably quite happy with this. Sure, he's losing a lot of roaches. Wasn't for free. It's not like Classic didn't kill anything there. He actually killed 24 roaches. Serious amount. Chasing his army down a little bit. Work account's kind of even. I think just resetting the High Templar account is very good. Keeping Classic on 3 bases is very good. Well, Classic not dead yet. Absolutely not dead. Thank you to Andy for the 1,000 biddies, mate. Let's go. Look at me peeking on the Friday night. We played any Battle Aces, by the way, Mark? I feel like you played a bit in the past, right? How do you feel? Oh my god. Do we have to kill 2 pilots here? Oh no. That's kind of painful. That is very painful, especially with High Templars being exposed. Roaches trying to get on top of them. Nice blink here, though, by Classic. Serral's definitely putting on a bit of a show with all of these roaches and Tunnel and Claws. Brings me back to that breakout Katowice for Serral, where he had some of the most amazing Roach Burrow play against the likes of Trap that I'd ever seen up to that point. Kind of lost interest in it. I think they already nerfed it a bit, Jeremy? I read something about it going from 0.5 to 0.75. Connected for Classic until he started. Well, I kind of had to because he was walled in. He's still walled in, by the way. Classic is still walled in. Serral now has Hive Tech coming online. I don't know how you feel about it, Mark, but I feel that it's almost impossible right now for a new game to be so freaking good that everyone gets Omega excited over it, thinking in the RTS realm. I know that Marvel Rivals kind of came out of nowhere and is doing incredibly good, and Deadlock obviously was mega hype for a bit and then started losing player interest, but it just seems so freaking difficult right now to make a game that the world gets excited over, unless it is part of a massive franchise. Couple of big storms landing here. Classic on the edge of creep. Should be able to take an alrighty fight. Lurkers are obviously not quite here yet. Stalkers. Final storm not very good. 24 blink. He needs to be very quick. We need to be careful near speed zones as well. You know that, Jonah. You know that those speed zones are very scary. Do I still have how fast are these balls?
Oh my, how fast are those balls? What?
They're very quick through the green zones. And Serral knows. Okay. That's fair enough, Mark. I gotta feel the opposite. I do like Battle Aces a lot, and the other ones so. Nothing has truly piqued my interest yet. It just seems to me so difficult right now as a game developer to make something new that people get truly excited over. How many Serral sound bits do you have? Quite a few. I have a couple. I like this one too.
Oh my god, why is that? Are you kidding me? That's the dumbest play ever. Period.
I like the tiny boss before the period. That one just gets it going for me. I love it. Lurker count at the moment for Serral at 14. At least we're getting a proper first game between these two. I was a little bit worried in the beginning when Classic lost that first Oracle and he started losing the second Oracle as well, but starting to look a little bit better at this point. Maybe put this Observer. I want to say in surveillance mode, but if you do that against Serral, you're obviously going to lose them. This is where I'm definitely worried for Classic, because he's got 20 Stalkers, but Stalkers have a really hard time taking good fights against Lurkers. Now the Storms are not bad, and we do have a few carriers showing up. It ain't much, but a couple of carriers can absolutely make the difference here. There's barely any anti-air defending all these Lurkers. Serral realizing that, and because of that he moves them. I have not ATL Mesmer. I mean, I'm also a very big fan, by the way, of MaxPax, but I don't really see that as an RTS or anything like an RTS. It is obviously a strategy game, but it's very different. I think MaxPax is very interesting. But a couple of the other ones, like I look at the graphics of Tempest Rising, and I think it looks very clean, but I don't have the desire to get into it because it's just so overwhelming. So many things to learn and so many buttons to press. I don't know, this is hard. I look at it and I'm like, might be really fun, but I feel like you truly need to sit down and learn for hours before that becomes very enjoyable. Thank you, Grand ADM Mike. Good matchup, thanks. So far, it's not disappointing, eh? Obviously great to see Serral play. Serral obviously always makes for good matchups. But Classic is, I think, playing pretty freaking good. In a game where I wasn't even loving his start. I think this is quite impressive. Now Classic does come down. This is bottom base. We have 10 Corruptors on the way. Corruptors don't have any air upgrades yet. Carriers are just not the carriers we used to know. Sometimes I do miss my Graviton Catapult carriers. You gonna try? Hello, Yor. The game looks very good. I saw Psyop stream it a tiny bit yesterday. Tempest Rising, that is. And graphically, it looks amazing. It looks very... I was like, man, this is definitely kind of like going back into the past, playing Red Alert again and having fun with it. But it's just hard to... I don't know. I find new RTSs in general always a bit intimidating and overwhelming. Even when I started playing Stormgate for the first time, I was like, ah! And then once I got familiar with workers and the economy a little bit, once you get into the flow of at least being able to build stuff, I think it becomes a lot more fun. But the very beginning is always so tough. So overwhelming. Even for someone who has played RTS games basically for 25 years straight, if you give me a brand new RTS right now, I'm like, oh, so tough, it's scary, it's annoying. It always takes a while before you start having fun. Classic has a pretty cool army of 4 carriers, 6 Tempest, a mothership. The corruptor count at the moment on Serral's side is 15. 15 is serious. And Serral's obviously always so freaking efficient with his Vipers. Lands a few Abducts, is continuing to be active as well with a couple of Lurkers and Hydras over here in the natural. Classic has got 120 army supply. We don't want to lose the Robo, the Forge, by the way. These are things that we absolutely can't afford to lose, especially not after losing that center base in the bottom. Good news is we've got an Observer here that just came out. The bad news is now this base on the left side is in real danger. Classic is aware of it, so he's gonna recall. And next is recall, that is. Yo, hartstikke bedankt Geert. Thank you, matey, for the 62 months. One Lurker dies, the second one survives, and Abduct lands on the carrier. Wow, lost detection there, and because of that the Corruptors could not actually kill the carrier. Either the Overseer died, or it was too far to the right side. Like... I'll talk a little bit about my thoughts on the Guardian Shield of Battle Aces after this game is over. Because we could be nearing a game-deciding fight. Classic knows that if this keeps on going, it's not going to go his way. He has too difficult of a time securing new bases. Serral has already cracked him open over here in the natural, taking out the base in the bottom right side. So I think we're somewhat close to eventually Classic just saying, you know what, this is it, this is my army. I'm not rebuilding workers. I'm not turning around anymore. I'm just sending it. Not quite there yet. Speaking of Guardian Shield, by the way, I know we're talking about a different... Wow, 106 larva on Serral's side. That's so silly. 106. He's got 1500 gas. That's not crazy much. Obviously, 4k minerals is a lot. 106 larva is an unreal amount. Serral literally does not have to inject for the rest of the game and he'll be fine. Yeah. Carrier gets picked off by the Corruptors. It is a whole bunch of Corruptors and Vipers. As a time warp lands on a bunch of the Lurkers. Classic, can we take the fight that we are looking for? The problem with Carriers is that often the damage is so underwhelming on the Lurkers, and it means it just takes so freaking long. As Serral is gonna dive on top of the mothership with a parasitic bomb. A bit of a loco maneuver. Speaking of Loco, I hope he's winning. I think he's got a big night tonight. Unfortunately for Classic, his army simply just didn't have the damage. And he did not have the economy to reinforce quickly either. Serral takes a pretty convincing, in the end, 1-0 lead. Finishes the game with 87 larvae in the bank. Serral doing Serral things. The Loco maneuver is a classic. Want to see Last Fantasy. I mean, honestly, at one point I was pretty impressed by Classic's ability to navigate that early mid-game and late mid-game. I feel like all things considered, he did quite good. And games like this can come down to tiny moments. What if the moment he shaded those two adepts into the natural, that Oracle doesn't try to join them, but goes straight into the main, where the Spore was only 40-50% done and 1 Queen. I think Classic kills 5-6 drones easily, saves the Oracle too. And maybe he sets himself up for a much stronger mid-game. But so, there is a Guardian Shield in Battle Aces. It is a new unit. That's not really a new unit. You just select it as one of your 2 starting slots. And then basically there's a circle around any of your mains. And your workers are protected. And any unit that steps in range of the circle, think Mothership Overcharge. But it's permanent and it doesn't require any action. Now, I haven't played that much yet to really say that. I think it's Omega Imbalance. But after playing like 10-15 games, I don't understand why, in the current state of Battle Aces, and the version that I played yesterday, why you would ever play Battle Aces without Guardian Shield. It's like a permanent Mothership Overcharge on any of your bases that's always there. And that guns down any tier 1 units that could harass you. It's like, it's just too good. And I understand what they're going for. Because if you think of game design, as we talked about, RTS is so hard, it's intimidating, and Battle Aces is so short and action-packed that if you start a game and you lose all your workers immediately, it's not fun. So you want to give people the ability to at least play the game a little bit, right? Get an economy, build some units. I understand why they do it, but the current version is way too powerful. That's just the way it is. Let's go ahead and hop into round 2 of the main event. Big Brain Bouts 94. Serral versus Classic. We too have a Guardian Shield. In this game, it's just different and you do need to press a button to get value out of it.
Round 2. Fight!
Bottom left side of Persephone, we are looking at the main base of our Finnish Phenom, the GOAT of Starcraft 2. Of course, representing Basilisk, it is Serral. Top left side, we are looking at the main base of our Korean Protoss, down 0-1. But honestly, I liked a couple of the things I saw there in that first game. It looked good for Classic. I'm not going to sit there and say that he's been my favorite Protoss, because I always feel there was, throughout his entire career, I feel like Classic for me was always my second favorite Protoss. And it doesn't matter if he's like behind MaxPax or behind Hero or behind Stats or behind Zest. For me, Classic has just been like my forever second favorite Protoss. Behind MC, behind Seed, I don't know. Was it an Ace? Right, Ace is pretty good. But Classic has definitely been a proper legend. Used to be a Terran player, by the way, a long time ago. Classic was a Terran. He struggled a little bit. He said, I'll become a Protoss. And he basically became one of the best Protoss players to ever touch the game. I feel like we saw that in the NA scene as well. I'm spotting a bit of a theme here, guys. Terran players that swap and become kind of the best. Another Stargate opening. Taking a look. Obviously, I'm not that familiar yet with these maps either, guys. We are using a relatively new map pool. I do believe that this is the map pool that we are going to see at a lot of future events. Now, obviously, every event can still swap in and out their own maps, whatever they want. But I think especially closer to EWC, pro gamers would absolutely appreciate it if we use a set map pool a little bit more. If we want to go crazy and wild after EWC and come up with random map pools, I'm sure that everyone is okay with it. But I think the closer we get to the summer, to our big event in Saudi Arabia, a bit of consistency will be nice for the gamers. Hello, Forkifa. I am doing good. The next big offline event is Dallas, right? Dallas is before anything, the 23rd of May. We also have GSL offline qualifiers coming up, but Thought this was a beta map. Well, could be true as well, Thorn. I think that this is the one that we're going to use for a while, though. Maybe they'll still swap one in or out, right? But DreamHack Dallas. Couple of adapts to shading, forward, turn around. Oh, hey! Wait, I think this is on Central, no? Yeah, okay. Surprised to see that late pull on Central. Will Reynor participate in GSL? I think absolutely. Reynor is currently in Korea. There are very few things that Reynor would love more in life than a shot at redemption and do better in the GSL than he's done in the past. This was not it, by the way, guys, for Classic. Now, maybe this is it, because he has parked his Oracle above a very beautiful waterfall. So that part is good. The part where he only killed one drone there, and I think we could have killed a little bit more, not so good. I love the idea of, you guys talk about Reynor, but I'm thinking of Trigger, man. I think Trigger is going to qualify for GSL too. Trigger is omega good at the moment, and he's been in Korea for a long time. Imagine how cool GSL will be if we can watch both Reynor and Trigger. I'm very, very excited. And GSL will be happening for 2 seasons. Season 1 is coming up sometime soon, where the top 2 of GSL Classic almost had to rewarp in those units. Wouldn't have really made too much of a difference. Overall, this is still so clean by Serral, though. Killing 4 adapts, only losing 14 links. Well, yeah, basically GSL code as qualifiers. It should start within 10 days from now, maybe even 8 or 7 days. Perhaps next weekend, right? Not this weekend, but following weekend. And then we'll know who's going to play, and then I don't know when they start, but I expect that to happen within a couple of weeks. It starts on the 26th of April. Those are probably the qualifiers, so I don't think the main event is starting on the 26th. Oh, yeah. Excited for Reynor, but I'm just as excited for Trigger. Because I know you guys will think that I'm biased. Basilisk, he's hyping up one of the other guys because all the limelight is always on Serral and Reynor, but I think Trigger is freaking good at the moment, and I think he can absolutely qualify. And he can maybe even have a bit of a run. I just hope that they don't play against each other in the qualifier. That would make me very sad. Home Story Cup is on like the 27th, 28th, 29th of June. That's pretty far away. I don't think that anything would overlap with Home Story Cup now. That'd be very sad as well. Home Story Cup would not deserve that. Because they announced their event so far in advance that I may hope for the love of everything that we can avoid that weekend. I don't know what tournament organizers decide to do. I don't know when all these qualifiers happen, but I'd be incredibly bummed out for the folks over at Take TV if Home Story Cup does clash with something. That shouldn't happen. We for a long time literally had one event announced. That was Home Story Cup. So I may hope that that is an exclusive weekend. Don't know, Azrael. I think it's gonna be Dispatch or Dispatch and bug fixes, or Dispatch and a few very minor changes, but I don't know anything about it. I am not a member of the Balance Council and I've never been one, so I don't know. But technically the Balance Council got disbanded, right? Like, I don't even know who's in charge, so we don't know. Only time will tell. I don't think anybody has the answers. It's a good question on the tanks. I assume that Tasteless will be casting GSL this year, but I thought the timing of the RSL with the GSL is a bit funky. But yeah, maybe they just think like starting with the RSL as early as possible is a good thing and get people aware of it, and then after GSL is done, we'll cast RSL. But yeah, I assume that it will just be Tasteless, Gemini, and State. Mostly Tasteless and State, and then maybe sometimes Gemini. RSL is a new project from the guys over in Korea. They call it the Revive Starcraft League. And it's basically a GSL replacement, but then it's not really GSL because the players will be online. It's a passion product, very ambitious. I think it's supposed to happen sometime next year. See if it can take off and if they will find the traction that they're looking for. 8 Zealots, 13 Stalkers, 6 High Templars. Serral has gone for a Spire. Now the big Stalker count is quite high on the side of Classic. But just having Blink Stalkers doesn't mean that you won't take any damage from Mutalisk. The Mutalisk that Serral is so fond of. There is a Stalker. That's a bad Stalker warp in. I'm surprised that Serral actually doesn't jump on them. Serral wants the High Templars instead. Gets 1, gets 2. Will lose a couple of Mutas. Gets 8 workers. Surprised he didn't kill the 2 Stalkers that got warped in right underneath his Muta. I don't know if this was like that good for Serral, but Serral is transitioning real quick, right? Immediately fires up the Hive. We've got another Evo Chamber going down. And if Classic now starts building a whole bunch of Phoenixes, that's not necessarily going to be good against Hive Tech Serral. If Serral maybe goes for Ultras, Lynx with Adrenal Glands, showing up with a bunch of Phoenix won't do much for you. Unless you add in that Dark Shrine. I've not seen double Stargate Dark Shrine lose a single time today. Flawless performances only. It's actually, I haven't heard anything about the Ollie Mullick in a while, Scorpion. Wardy used to cover that, and then sometimes he covered that like a day after. Did he just miss a revelation? No, he cut 1 circle. I don't know if it's happening. I haven't seen any Ollie Mullick casting or coverage lately, so I don't know. This is, to me, there is actually a crazy amount of competitive StarCraft happening over the interwebs. The problem is that it's very split, right? Some of it is on the Korean streaming services, some of it is on this Scoop, and then some of it is live, some of it is rebroadcasted, but there's a lot of different StarCraft leagues and competitions happening right now. We have Lynx, Stalkers, Cannons, and a couple of High Templars looking for stuff. Ling, Bane, Roach, no Hydra. Well, I think with all the Cannons here, Classic should be able to take a fine fight, right? Honestly, very good High Templar positioning. Storm's not bad at all. Love to see a tiny bit of activity from the Phoenixes. Lift some Ravages, mate. Ravages are pricey. Lift some Ravages. That is exactly what Classic is going to do. Stalkers will blink forward. Pretty good hold. Classic is playing well. Is it good enough to really make Serral sweat? Is it good enough to beat Serral tonight? That I don't know, but I do think he's playing quite well. Do you have any plans to stream in 4K quality? I believe we are currently doing that. I'm streaming at the max bitrate that Twitch allows me to stream at the moment. So for it to be better, I guess I would have to stream on YouTube, and I don't want to stream on YouTube because I don't want to divide the audience. I like to talk to everybody in one place. And I know that there is some value in the YouTube player being better and the quality on YouTube being higher, but I don't want to deal with multiple chats that I potentially have to worry about and moderate. I like to stream in one place. This is the way I do it. Lynx, Roaches, and Banes getting on top of this setup that Classic has over here in the top side of the map. Phoenixes have a lot of energy. Immortal dies. Maybe the Phoenixes could have flown over to lift that Immortal. I was fully surrounded. Serral is just creating so much chaos. Does lose a lot of units. These attacks ain't cheap. Now maybe that is what the Swarm is all about. Serral's actually morphing 7 Broodlords. Not a lot of Zerg players are big believers in the Brood right now. Serral does still make them quite often. Very important that Serral keeps on building Corruptors, by the way, because the Stargates are still doing their thing. There are carriers in the mix, couple Phoenixes, obviously have some DPS as well. Serral cannot just make Broodlords. He's gonna need some Corruptors too. The Lynx are so feisty. +2 melee and Adrenal Glands is so incredibly good. And I feel like Classic kind of would love the idea of like, hey, let's poke with my main army. Let's fight a little bit. But every time he thinks about moving out, there are more Zerglings that show up that can immediately nibble through a base, take care of all this. Like, you just have so many cannons here, right? Those damn Banes. Those damn Banes. People used to watch StarCraft in like 148p or whatever the hell it was. You could literally count the pixels on the GOM TV player and people were like, yeah, StarCraft! Now you give them 1080p, it's as clean as it gets, and people are like, hey, if I watch this on my 128-inch plasma ultra OLED TV from my yacht in the middle of the Pacific, it looks a little blurry, Roddy. Can you please stream in 4K 2000 this? It's like, no. Mate, no. We used to count pixels and still enjoyed it. One bailing left over. Classic had enough of defending. 11 workers have gone down. And this is a pretty sick army. What's the corrupt count? It's at 13 at the moment. There are 5 more on the way. But it's very difficult right now for Serral, guys. Is that these corruptors are going to come in from multiple angles. And that makes it hard. And Classic doesn't want to give Serral time. Blinks forward. A blinding cloud. Can Classic do it? Maybe the carrier should go for the corruptors. We need to make sure we don't lose all of our storms. Storms are good. Feedbacks are excellent. That is really big. What are we going to do with this main army? Can our Korean Protoss close it out? This is kind of the army that needs to do it. He's losing everything on the other side of the map. He knows it. I know it. You guys know it. We can lose 1 carrier. That's okay. We can even lose 2 carriers. But then we really need to make our way through these corruptors. The War Prism gets sniped. Oh. Losing the Prism is a disaster. Now the extra links and the Broodlings are making the difference. The Corruptors will start healing up. I think there are enough Corruptors left over. A Viper even has energy. Sniping the Prism there is a goated decision by the Finnish Phenom. Serral takes the 2-0 lead. Got pretty close. Honestly, good decision making there, I think, by Classic. Shame that Prism was so exposed. Imagine if it was a tiny bit further in the back and we could warp in some Stalkers. The storms were starting to add up. A lot of the Corruptors were low on HP. Maybe like 1 big warp in and an additional carrier. Or saving a carrier. And it could have gone Classic's way. But that is probably how people feel all the time against Serral. If only. X, Y, Z. If only. But yeah. That's kind of what makes Serral, right? Game 3 will be played on a map that we are very familiar with. Ultra Love. And I can already feel the single or Stargate unit into 8 gateway opening coming. I don't know if it's going to be Zealots with +1 and charge, or a bunch of adapts with resonating glaive adapt, but I feel like this is going to be the Oracle Void Ray into 8 gate. In the deciding battle, Serral rocked. Yona's amazing. I can praise Yona all day, every day, and it would be very well deserved. But often when people play against Serral, I almost like to look for what the other guy is doing right. Because nobody needs me to tell you guys, nobody needs to hear from me that Serral is awesome. Everybody knows Serral is awesome. So I'm looking at it often from the person that goes up against Serral. And if they can make it close, I already feel like I'm proud, I'm happy, I'm entertained. Like, that's good. What's the counter to 8 gate? What is very important for Serral is just that he does not over drone against that kind of stuff. You cannot go up to 67 drones blind and suddenly have to worry about 20 Zealots or 16 Zealots with +1 storming to the other side of the map. But the Korean Protosses have already pulled it off a couple of times on Ultra Love against him. He's not falling for that tonight. Let's go ahead and hop into round 3.
Round 3. Fight.
Thank you to Litrex for the 14 months. I appreciate it. In the top right side, guys, of Ultra Love, we are looking at the main base of our Korean Protoss, down 0-2, but playing a good series, and it's great to have him here. It is very late over in Korea, so I applaud you for being here, and I appreciate it. This is Classic. It's a single best of 5. If you guys are unfamiliar with the Big Brain Bouts, you can do more !B, !B, BBB, read about it, learn about it, and if you have any questions, obviously feel free to send them my way. The main event, the winner always gets 150 bucks, the loser gets a 50. It is just one best of 5, that is all there is to it. Bottom left side of Ultra Love, we are looking at the main base of our Finnish Phenom, the runner-up of the Esports World Cup 2024. And he's gonna try to add that incredibly important tournament to his resume this summer. It is Serral. Gateway before Cybercore, obviously very standard in this matchup. Serral has been forced to take the triangle instead of the natural. Do you think the average EM player is closer in skill level to Serral or a gold player? When it comes to like pure skill, I'd say they're closer. if you say what is easier for a gold player to become an average GM player or for an average GM player to get competitive with Serral, I'd say it's way easier to go from gold to GM. But when it comes to like who's closer in skill, obviously gold is like proper bad, and anybody who's like mid GM is kind of good. So they are closer to Serral in skill than they are than the other question. But I do think that the journey from gold to GM is a lot easier than from a GM to Serral. And obviously just at one point it's not possible, right? You cannot do that. You can ban him immediately, Coco. Don't worry about it. That kind of stuff, I don't ban quickly, but that kind of stuff you can just perma ban. Don't never sweat that. I think you're like me, Coco, where you don't like to ban people on other people's channels. I don't like to do that either, right? Because you always want to make sure, like, oh, it's okay. But that kind of stuff you can always just straight perma ban and we'll never look back. It's not a big deal. And I will always support a Coco ban anyway. You know I'll defend you, Coco. You're saying I have a chance to become GM? I think most people have a real shot at making GM. Like Starcraft 2 is not as populated as it once upon a time was. It was very difficult to be GM in 2010, 2011 because of the massive player base, and then there were so many people competing at once and playing very often. These days it obviously still requires a lot of practice. It requires a lot of games, but it's not impossible. If you've got the time, and especially if you have a little bit of coaching, you can absolutely get it done. Classic has 2 adepts shading into the main base, and they killed 4 drones. That is not too bad. His Oracle is gonna fly into the triangle base. We got 1, we got a second, and now it's so important to keep this Oracle alive, and he does. Strong start here by Classic. I mean, I would never be friends with people like that, Coco. I think you know enough about me. If they start saying that kind of stuff, I will never be friends with them. None of that is funny. Yeah, I appreciate it. What server is easiest to get GM in the mid-season? I'd say right now, probably NA, but honestly, there's a chance it's Korea, because the Koreans, they just ladder. They don't ladder that much anymore. And a lot of the top players in Korea, they take it a bit easy when it's not tournament season. So there is no such thing as like hundreds of Korean players that are grinding all day, every day. Some of the great Chinese players and Korean players even ladder on Europe right now. So I know it sounds insane to say that it's Korea, but it might actually be Korea. If you beat me, you're probably GM, yeah. I very rarely lose to people that are not GM. It's always possible if I do something silly or they catch me napping, but you're gonna have to more often than not be GM to beat me. It's not hard to beat me, but you're gonna have to be somewhat good. When I used to live in America, I played quite some games over at the Korean server, and so I lived on the West Coast, and I used to ladder on Korea in like 2014, 15, 16, and I was already GM back then. Like, it was hard, but it wasn't crazy hard. And that is me playing with 150 ping 8 years ago, or 10 years ago. No cancel for Serral, as a big stasis trap has gone down in the main base. Oh my, Classic is cooking on Sirius. A Sirius gas kills the 4th big stasis, another big stasis. Woo! One more massive stasis. Oh my god, what is happening? What is happening? Classic is flying. Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't get any better than this, Classic. So this game right now just became incredibly important. Is that because his life is on the line, what he's done out to? No, not necessarily. It's always important. It's just, if you lose a game like this, this haunts you. This will stay with you for a long time. And if Classic runs into Serral at DreamHack Dallas, or he runs into Serral at the EWC, you'll think back of a game like this was like, man, if I don't win this stuff, when do I win? You know, like, if this is not good enough, then when do I win? Saying it's bad time for Serral. Guys, I know that Serral doesn't enjoy playing late at night, but it's literally 4:50 a.m. for Classic. So using bad time is not a thing right now. Let's just give kudos to Classic, guys. Classic has just done enough right to create a couple of good moments for himself. Stalkers blink across the links. One Oracle does die. Second Oracle dies. Uh-oh. This is now becoming like a very committed attack. I'm kind of afraid we just don't quite have the firepower yet. There's a lot of extra Stalkers being warped in on the top left side. The links are about to unfreeze though. There's one more stasis trap. +1 is done on the Stalkers. Obviously Blink is good, but Classic really needs to start microing. Like he's Hero or MaxPax or Classic in his prime. This is starting to look very doable for Serral. And if it's durable, most of the time he's going to pull it off. Uh-oh. Classic had a few very big moments. Serral's working on the cooling tower here. He is going to knock it down as well. Stalkers will retreat. Could maybe drop a revelation here. They will die. Sure, that is correct. It's very rare. Same with Fungal, by the way. But units can absolutely die underneath. A forward blink. Classic channels is in a hero. He sees a whole bunch of roaches and ravages. He's like, you know what? I've got so many blink stalkers. I've got +1. I think I can justify this. And he might be right. He might be right. He is right. Wow, what a call. What a call. I love it. Well done, Classic. Good game. We've got a series, guys. Our Korean Protoss Classic gets one on the board. Some 6 stasis traps. Was obviously distracting Serral elsewhere. And then he just got the most value stasis traps imaginable. Well done. Ah, that's nice for Classic too. And it's just important for Classic. Because as I said, if he loses this game after those stasis traps. And that start with the Adepts and the Oracle. Like, that's gonna haunt you throughout the entirety of 2025. That's hard to forget about. And as much as I will always cheer for Serral and everything, unless he plays against Trigger or Reynor, of course, then I'm completely neutral. Everything else I will be cheering for him. I do wish Classic the best, and I wish him a strong year, and I don't want to see this man wake up in the middle of the night covered in sweat. First 2 adepts definitely did okay. Yeah. Surprised when now Serral gets angry. Serral's, of course, looking good. That game was on US West as well. We start the best of 5 on West. Game 2 is Central. Game 3 is West. Game 4 is on Central again. So now we go back to the server where Serral does have a ping advantage over Classic. But if Classic can somehow win it, Game 5 is West. You're allowed to root in any order on the tanks. I just want to be neutral. But I think all of you guys know that I love Reynor, and I've got a very good relationship with Reynor that I've already had since Lord knows what year. So I maybe deep down inside will always be a tiny bit biased for our Italian stallion. I can't help it. Kid touches a soft spot in me. We're all allowed to have our favorite children, right? Some of you guys are parents out there. You have kids. You love all of them, but can't help it. Sometimes there's just one you love a tiny bit more. Bottom left side of Tokamak. We are looking in the main base of our Korean Protoss. So definitely playing a good series. Especially considering the time of day for him. This is Classic. And in the top right side, the undisputed gold of Starcraft 2 has basically won everything that he could ever dream of. One thing he would love to win though is EWC. He only had 1 shot at it so far. Took second. That's not bad, but second is never what this man is aiming for. This is Serral. And will it be another summer of Serral? It is possible. Rooting order Serral, any Finnish players, Zerg, Terra, and myself, Protoss. I've always liked cheering for people from my country too, in every single RTS, whether it's Warcraft or Starcraft. It was always fun to cheer for the Dutchies. And to be fair, I had nothing to complain about. Euthermo in 2016, Harstem in 2016. Red in the very early days, winning one of my all-time favorite tournaments. What was it called? The European Battle.net Invitational over in Poland. First tournament I ever casted with Mr. Bitter. Red won it all. He also won a assembly, but I wasn't there for that one. The Dutch have had some success in StarCraft 2. Grobby made it to the finals of an IEM, where he lost against a Korean Terran. I forgot his name. I want to say it's Sing, but it's not. That's just because I'm thinking of Sing Sing. Super? Or something? Who the hell? There was a Korean Terran. It was kind of good, but never like ultra good. And he won that IEM in either Taipei or Singapore. Beat Grubby in the finals. Sting, yeah. Okay, that was very close with Sting. No, I don't think it was Super. I think it was Sting. You guys can Google it. I don't want to alt tab in the middle of the game, but Grubby was very close to winning a StarCraft 2 IM, which is obviously very impressive. But I think there was a Korean Terran player called Sting, and he beat Grubby in the finals. I wasn't at that event. If I was, I would have remembered it better, but I just remember cheering for Grubby. I thought it was cool if a Dutchman would win an IM. Sting is right, yeah. I thought Sing, but I was like, that doesn't sound right. And this is because I'm thinking of Sing Sing, who's playing in the Warcraft 3 Invitational right now. I was like, I really think it's close to Sing. Yeah, Sting is very close. The Double Adept Oracle is a standard opening and is once more the opening build order here for Classic as he continues to shade. This is the kind of stuff that we can just kind of glance at and we can ignore it, but if you're playing, this is already stressful because you need to stay on top of these adepts. If your links are terribly out of position, you can lose 5 drones, and against a world-class Protoss, the game could be over. I don't get invited, Monga. Grubby has answered the question many times, but in Grubby's eyes, I don't qualify. Because you guys, I quote Grubby, you guys don't understand how good Roddy was. That is what he said. The Invitational is for people who play different games and are streamers. Not for someone who was a literal pro, semi-pro gamer in Warcraft. I was pretty good in Warcraft, guys. No, I don't think I would necessarily show up and beat everybody because I haven't played in so long. And I honestly think guys like the Viper and Sing Sing, like if they practice, they can probably beat me on some of these modern maps. But there's a very big difference between people who have never played StarCraft as Classic loses an Oracle. People who never played Warcraft or people who traveled around the world to play at Warcraft 3 events. Very, very strong start here, guys, for Classic, as Classic loses for Serral, obviously, as Serral kills the Oracle and also forces a cancel on the third base. This is mega stuff on the side of Serral and is very unfortunate for Classic. What Classic does have is a couple of adepts in the natural, and that gives him a tiny bit of hope. Losing the Oracle still stinks. Being forced to cancel the Nexus really stinks, but okay. HeroMarine was kind of okay, Musti, but not at that level. HeroMarine was like a local Dutch player. HeroMarine was like you, Musti. You know, like a known player in the Dutch scene, but at best, you know, top 8, top 10 in the Netherlands that time. So what you are right now in StarCraft is what HeroMarine was in Warcraft, but HeroMarine was very young. HeroMarine recently has played a lot of Warcraft, and he's probably damn good right now, right? Because HeroMarine is obviously an excellent video gamer. But when I was playing Warcraft with Robbie back then, like, HeroMarine was like 12 or something. He wasn't bad, but he was not that good yet. No. I think they're already informed, GeoKiller. Also, I don't know why you guys all talk about visas. Guys, like, an ESTA visa is literally like 3 clicks and it's done. Very few people have complicated visas to America. And also, people are already in shit. I don't think it's that hard, mate. ESTA is ESTA. The rules have not changed for an ESTA visa. Yeah, but do you guys really think that for every single trip pro gamers go to the embassy and get visas? That's not how it works. Friendly nations, you fill in like a couple buttons on a website and that is it. It's done. Only if you live in a hostile nation or in a nation that is forced to get a proper visa, then you need to get those visas, yes. But that is very rarely the case for StarCraft 2 players. I mean, it depends what country they're from, right, GeoKiller? I know for South Korea it would not be hard. It's not difficult for South Koreans to travel to America. It's not difficult for Europeans to travel to America. Permanent visas are hard to get. Like H1 visas or HB1, whatever they're called, those are very hard to get. A little 90-day ESTA, and all you need is 7 days, is not hard to get. And when it comes to the form, like nobody ever told anybody to stop playing or continue playing, right? Like everyone knew that obviously there were a few things to look forward to. So I don't see that as an issue at all. I think if anything, it is awesome to see the people that have been grinding throughout the last 5 months to get rewarded. I think that's fantastic. They were the ones that kept the scene going and kept us entertained and signed up for everything and pushed out content. And if they have a little leg up because they were active and other people were not active, how is that a bad thing? Isn't it good that hard work gets rewarded? Like, that seems like a very good thing to me. I'm glad that that is the case. It's like, I don't understand why that would ever be a problem. It's like, wow, it's just not fair. Those guys have worked so hard over the winter. They've got a leg up. It's like, everyone was able to, like, you know. This was indeed better on the side of Classic. Focusing a little bit here, guys, on game 4. Losing the 2 oracles throughout this game is tough, though. I think you're wrong, Kyo Killer. I mean, Starcraft 2 is a game with an incredibly high skill ceiling, and that makes it very hard for people to get crazy upsets. And a lot of people love Starcraft because it is an incredibly high-skilled game. And no matter how much or how little certain people play, the best right now are the best. And that's not a gap that you close with, like, oh, 2 weeks of hard practice, now 2, I am Clem. No. It took Clem like 6-7 years of incredibly hard work to become Clem. It took Serral a lifetime to become Serral. You know, it's unrealistic to be like, well, somebody, oh my god, where's your detection, mate? Stop! That is not something you run up to. I love Starcraft because it is a game with an incredibly high skill ceiling. And obviously games with an incredibly high skill ceiling is going to have big favorites entering tournaments. It's kind of like chess, right? I am not tuning into the next Paris Masters and be like, man, I really hope Magnus Carlsen loses every single game, you know? It's just, it'd be very nice if the other guys can just show up and beat him. It's like, oh, damn it, here goes Magnus again. He won it all. It's like, man, I just don't like it. Why is this Magnus guy winning? It's like, well, that's kind of what he does. He's the best. It's a high-skilled game with a very high-skill ceiling, and he gets rewarded. Hive tech is done on the side of Serral. There's a couple of Stalkers are gunning down an Overlord. This is an interesting base, by the way. It's a mega base with all these gold mineral packs. Oh, this looks bad for Classic. He needs to turn around, and he does turn around. It's the same in traditional sports, but I will never hate on greatness. And I also think the longer that a certain era of greatness is happening, the more special the moments are when a favorite doesn't win. Like, obviously, I've enjoyed and loved every single Serral and Reynor victory in my life, and I've absolutely loved Clem's victory at EWC too. To see him be rewarded for all his hard work and his crazy talent, that was awesome. But maybe my favorite memory as just a fan is Oliveira winning Katowice, because I understand how freaking hard and crazy it is. And because StarCraft is such a high, crazy skilled game, witnessing something like that makes it 10 times as special as any other game where, yeah, you have your favorites, but anybody can win. I think that is a cool thing about StarCraft. And I understand it can be boring. It's like, oh, it's Clem and Hero and Serral, they're the best. You know, yeah. They are, but that's why it's so special when somebody joins them and hangs out with them. Who's gonna tell me they didn't get a little bit emotional when Oliveira won Katowice and he had that speech with Smix? It's like one of the most magical moments ever. And the reason for that being one of the most magical moments ever is because we know how incredibly good Maru and Serral and Hero are when they enter a tournament like that, and Reynor. And for Oliveira to overcome all of that makes it 10 times more special than, oh, anybody could win. Congrats to Oliveira, he was really good this weekend. No. Of course I'll play Warcraft 3 again one day. It's just right now, There's a lot of things happening in StarCraft 2, and I'm also trying to manage everything on the side. I'm obviously busy with my new role in Basilisk, and it's very important for me to do a good job, so I do my best every single day. Guys, I have a couple of weeks where I, for the life of me, don't know what to do. Well, let's say my managers are very happy, I'm happy with everything in StarCraft, and everything's taken care of. I will gladly lean back and boot up some Warcraft, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. It will probably not happen before the Esports World Cup, but maybe much later this year I can just lean back, witness all of our amazing gamers do great things across various titles, and then I can just play a little bit of Warcraft 3 for fun. Who's in the advantage now? I'd say that Serral is absolutely still in the lead, but Classic has done a really good job over the last few minutes, doing a good job with the Zealots, also just buying time, right, to transition into a stronger army. I like that we are actually working on air upgrades. Carriers are, carriers used to be our destination, and now I feel like carriers are more of a face. Well, when your parents ask you, is this really necessary? And you're like, Mom, it's not a face. Carriers are a bit of a face. I definitely think carriers can be very good. They can win certain fights. They can secure certain areas of the map against certain army camps. But we can't just sit back and build carriers forever and think we're going to win. And it's unfortunately just not how the game works anymore. BBB is something I already did, armies. BBB is not a new role. That's something I've always done. And that wasn't necessarily me being a manager. That's just me being a content creator, right? This is me doing StarCraft stuff. I am the manager of esports. So to put it very simple, I lead the charge for us to expand into different categories. Into games that we are not active in yet. Into scenes that we are not active in yet. So you interview people, you scout for talent, you do a lot of research, and you try to find the perfect match of a great talented individual, whether they are content creators or streamers. And then you try to make an agreement that everyone is happy with, that we are happy with, that they are happy with. That is basically my role. And that is obviously not something that gets done overnight. It's not like you look at a game, it's like, oh, this game looks fun, let's sign 3 guys. No. It is it's a long process. And we need to do our due diligence, make sure that we keep the level that we currently operate at. If you look at our StarCraft 2 roster, it's obviously the very best and it's amazing human beings. And we strive for the exact same. You look at Sam in Magic the Gathering, Ristic Studies, world class. You look at Kyle Hill, obviously exceptional at what he does. So when it comes to entering a new game, whatever game that may be, you don't just look at the first man or woman and be like, awesome, you're in, want to join? We're awesome. Like, no, it takes time. It's possible, the Yankees. We look at everything. Obviously, chess has a lot of similarities to StarCraft, but anything is possible. Nothing is off the radar. Tempest shots going forward. 6 workers going down. Classic losing this center base. This is definitely a bit of an amygdala base, where it's like, it seems so fun to get it, but then once you have it, you're like, ah, it was bait. How do you ever mine from it? It looks so fun, but it looks like it's bait. Is Trigger a founder of Basilisk? No. Trigger is absolutely not a founder. Trigger is a talent. He's one of our players. He was officially the first StarCraft 2 player / talent on Basilisk, but absolutely not a founder. He's a little bit young to be a founder, but he is a member of Basilisk that we love and cherish. If he kills those towers and the blue minerals get destroyed. What? Really? I didn't know that. And the corruptor count is so high. Vipers, 1 abduct lands on a carrier. Carrier gets abducted and gets picked up. Same as every other esports org, Steve. It's just that our actual founders have done great things in previous lives before. They're like, you know what, esports sounds pretty awesome. But in the end of the day, Basilisk will operate the same as every other esports org. There is no difference in that regard. And they obviously teased their merch shop as well. People want shirts. We'll get there eventually. But it's never been the #1 priority. We want to get everything else in order first before we start selling t-shirts. Or a mousepad. Or a mouse. Even though a Reynor mousepad, if I can just put my mouse on Reynor's face all day and move it around in circles, I'd buy it. Even if I get it for free, I'd buy it again. Just so I can give one to Vicky too. And like, yeah. It will take time, but we'll get there. Couple of abducts land on the carriers. First carrier dies, the second carrier dies. The corrupt account is 23 on the side of Serral. Because Classic, his work account is quite a bit lower. He does have a ginormous army. 147 army supply. Can't share that UA. But what I can tell you guys is that you can always do !Discord. And you can talk to the managers of Basilisk. Not just me, obviously, but the other ones. The real people that are in charge. Let them know what you're passionate about. Let them know in which scenes you would like to see Basilisk be active. What your dreams are made of. !Discord. Everyone's there. If you're lucky, you can even catch Serral or Reynor. Or Sam. Or Carl. I just got a new phone case. Vicky got me a new case. I had a case for like a year and a half, and it was like very hard. And it was Omega damage. It looked very dirty. And every time that Vicky saw it, she's like, you really need a new case. And now she got me a beautiful new red case. And red is awesome, because now I can actually find my phone. Before that, I had a brown case, and in the past, a black case. And I could never find my phone. It's always gone. But now it's every time I look, it's always like, oh, that's my phone. It's easy. Signing Yano up near. That'd be tough. Pro Direct Strike. Direct Strike is probably not something that we are very likely to sign someone for, as it's not even a game. Macabellum, maybe one day. We'll keep an eye on it. Just like we'll keep an eye on everything else that is cool and awesome. Yeah, they look cool, eh? Evil. I agree. Serral is way richer than Classic, but Classic has a pretty terrifying army. Now Serral is very close though to getting those very important late game 3-3 upgrades, and I always think it's so hard for Skytos to do well against +3 attack and +3 armor Corruptus. As you get into Brawl Stars and sign Jax. I'm afraid for a Basilisk, you need to be over 16 for anything. No matter how good you are, you can be the best in the world at something. If you're not 16, unfortunately not an option yet. I petition to ban Eva. I like Brawl Stars. I played sometimes with Jax. Not very good at it, but I have played it. Sign Marine Lord. I think Marine Lord has a team right now, right? But that's like, out of all the suggestions so far, that's not a bad one. Obviously, I've looked at Marine Lord. I think Marine Lord is awesome. Maybe a tiny bit off-brand in some degrees. The banter of Marine Lord and DeMusliM goes pretty far sometimes. But other than that, we love Marine Lord. What is the Brawl Stars enjoyer? Not really an enjoyer, but I played a couple rounds. I scored some goals. I think I played a football match, if that's possible. 153 army supply for Classic against 140 for Serral, as High Templars and Carriers and Tempest are poking at the Zerg army, but so far it's the fungals of Serral that land. No feedbacks. Serral has lost 22,000 resources and Classic has lost basically 20k, so there's a 2,000 resource difference. Well, it's a little bit closer right now, guys. That was kind of expensive. But it's important to keep in mind that Serral has obviously been mining a lot more throughout the vast majority of this game, at least throughout the last 15 minutes. Sign Todd and Bobby together. Wouldn't it be cool, guys, just to reunite 4 kings, you know? We'll drag Fury and Zeus and Foth out of retirement. We'll find a new game for Foff to be good in. Honestly, I did like the OG4. Creoflus, the ultimate legend. We got Creo on board as well. Benny. Benny was a short-term member of 4K, but he was there. Maybe one day, guys. Nothing is impossible. A couple of the Archons get trapped by the Broodlings. I don't know if this is the spot for Classic to fight. Now, whenever you're looking at a new map pool and you're looking at late game scenarios, obviously neither of these guys have really played a whole lot of late game PvZ on Tokamak. Like, you guys would have shown me Tokamak 10 days ago. I'd never seen this map. I'd never heard of it. And I don't think it'd be very different for Serral and Classic. There's a couple of abducts. Dual land. The Oracles get abducted immediately. Serral just feels like he's a proper wall. It's like everywhere you go, it feels that Serral's got 80 army supply waiting for you. Viper's always looking for pickoffs. Lurker's always ready to deal with Zealot run-bys. And at one point, as a Protoss, you kind of start losing faith as well in making the plays you normally want to make. Where you're like, oh, let's create chaos. Let's fight here, there, everywhere. It's like, no. Just kind of become a little sad when you're like, man, everywhere I go, he's already there. And he's got the right answer for everything I throw at him. We are remaking at least one Oracle. We've got 3 Observers as well. Let's not forget about that. Someone tell Classic, yeah. Classic definitely seems to have a bit of an outdated take on late game PvZ. Now, if the Storms are God tier and the Archons somehow find the best position ever, maybe. But I kind of lost faith in these armies a little while ago, and it pains me to say that, guys, because I was the biggest carrier A-move enjoyer out there. The amount of games that I won that I absolutely did not deserve to win because my carriers were awesome is too damn high. I kind of feel like that era of Starcraft 2 is gone a little. So what should Classic do is obviously a normal follow-up question. Well, it's often a bit of a mix. Now, Tempests are good, Archons are good, High Templars are great. It's just that the carriers in particular are very problematic. It makes more sense to have a bunch of Immortals on the ground to make your way through those Lurkers. Have a crazy amount of gateways so we can reinforce in a fight, like with plus 30, 40 army supply, and then blink some Stalkers underneath the Broodlords. The carriers very often don't quite cut it. Obviously now, when you say that, the carriers will look as good as they did in Heart of the Swarm or Wings of Liberty. It will be like Game 5! I think opening up with a couple carriers to stabilize and maybe win a fight and force out a lot of Corruptors, never a bad play. There's definitely a moment for the carriers, but the era of I lose carrier, I rebuild carrier, I lose carrier, I rebuild carrier, I don't think that's the era that we kind of live in right now. Infest account is a 7, 20 Corruptors, a 13 Lurkers, 7 Infestors, 2 Vipers. Do we have a recall or is this the game deciding fight? What a fungo by Serral to kick things off. Time Warp, I don't think it's going to have much of an impact. I'm kind of afraid that Classic is going to lose this fight without getting a whole lot done. A loco maneuver for potentially the final fight of this best of 5. Now with this many Archons, you can definitely make your way through a couple of these Corruptors. Wasn't that bad on the side of Classic, to be fair. If anything, it was kind of good. Kind of good. Closer than I thought it would be. Whole bunch of Archons with +2 plasma shields standing right underneath all those Corruptors. But Serral is so rich that Serral can rebuild those Corruptors. And you can see that in the production tab. Classic, also kind of rich. Serral doesn't have that much gas. Honestly, guys, as good as it gets. If only Classic had 2 Void Rays is what SKillous says. 2 speedy Void Rays with Flux Veins. 5 Zealot Storm on top of this base in the top left side. Serral is mining some gas. It's not a lot, but there is at least a little bit of gas income. Where is he mining gas? Over here. And there's a lot of gas left, by the way. 2.2k gas left in both extractors. Got a few links getting on top of the I would say mine out triangle. There's actually a decent amount of minerals left here, guys. 800, 500, 400, 300. Not too bad. Classic needs to be very, very careful. Does land a massive storm there on all those Corruptors. It's pretty decent. Sometimes I really wonder why people watch Starcraft. All they want to do is whine and complain. It seems so exhausting. It's like, okay, well, what are we dealing with? Are we 14, 13? You know, did we use our dad's name to make a Twitch account? If all you ever want to do is just complain about the state of the freaking game, it's so sad. Why can't you just show some love and appreciation to the players and enjoy the show? You know, isn't it exhausting to wake up every single day and then your mom is like, what are you going to do today, son? You're like, I'm going to complain about the state of my video game on the internet. I don't care what site most people are on, but I want to complain today. It's like, chill a little, man. How about we just appreciate the fact that Serral is literally the GOAT. And Classic is one of the best Protoss players in history. And maybe these days, like, he hasn't been as sharp as he has been in the past, but he's doing well. It's been a fun series. How about we just enjoy some best of fives happening on the Friday night. 500 buckies up for grabs, week 94. Nothing asked in return. Can we just enjoy it instead of complaining about balance after every single exchange? I agree, Hyper One. It's really not looking that bad. I'll get back on track, guys. Just sometimes, I don't know, it just makes me a bit sad. All I'm doing is just trying to put on a show, organize some matches, make gamers happy, make the fans happy. And they're like, that was really cool. And then the first thing you see is 17 complaints about balance. It's like, it kind of kills me. Not going to lie. Not a lot of things bother me. People coming in chat like, Rodder, you old. I was like, that's right, Rodder, you suck. True, I'm an A-mover. Rodder, you fat. I agree, I should exercise a little more. When you put a lot of effort and energy and passion into just making fun stuff happen, and the only thing you read in return is stupid whining about balance, it really kills my soul, I'm not going to lie. Anyway. 31-minute game. 4. Game that looked very grim for Classic a while ago, but after that fight on the left side, not that bad anymore. I still don't truly believe in this very heavy carrier late game comp. The Archon count is a lot lower than it was before. Previous fight we had like 11 or 12 Archons, and parking a bunch of Corruptors above it is obviously going to hurt. Ooh, that is an expensive army to forget about. But, I think one of the main reasons why that fight went as solid for Classic as it did is because the Archon count was freaking high. And putting Corruptors above a Protoss army or on top of a Skytle's army, that can work against a few Archons. Against 11 Archons, I don't know. The Archon count is a lot lower right now. We will have storms. We are going for the loco maneuver, round 2. Parasitic bomb, storm, storm, storm. There are some Archons on the ground. But as I pointed out, 11 Archons or 4 Archons is a very big difference. This time Serral can send it on top of the Golden Armada. And the carriers disappear and they won't cut it. And the Tempests disappear as well. And where we had a close battle earlier, this wasn't much of a close battle. This was total domination. Much needed domination, as obviously losing another fight would have been scary for the Finnish Phenom. But he will not lose the fight. GG's are most likely getting called. So still maxed out. Classic is going to try to build a couple of Tempests, but I'm afraid it is just a little bit too late. We just got mass Void Ray. Void Rays are incredibly fragile against Fungo and Parasitic Bomb. That's the big problem. I think sometimes Void Rays' reinforcements can cut it, I think Void Rays is like when you hide them. Like Classic has done this incredibly well in the past, where you can kind of hide a set of Void Rays, and he's like, "Hey, this is my army: Tempest, Oracle, Mothership." And then right when the Zerg army engages, the Voids show up out of nowhere. That is good. Or you have perfect like pre-split on the Void Rays. But just having a bunch of Void Rays in the mix there won't do a lot for you. I'm afraid for Classic that is just kind of over. Classic obviously knows it at this point. He still has a lot of minerals in the bank, but this is not really gonna go his way. Lynx nibbling their way through all the probes. The Zealots and Stalkers will get one more hatchery. I think what the unit comp that Classic had earlier with the 10-11 Archons is good. But I think overall, as I said, carriers are temporary. I don't think carriers are a destination. Whereas like, well, I can start building carriers, I keep building carriers. There was a time where you had Graviton Catapult and they were just so sick and that would kind of work, but these days it's more of a phase of the game rather than let's build carriers forever. It did work out one fight, to be fair. Thank you to Sesamus for the 37 months. Corruptors are gonna dive on top of the Tempest and Motherships one more time. And this time it is good. Serral, after 34 minutes in game 4, gets the job done. GG's, well played. And congrats to Serral. But honestly, good showing by Classic as well. I wanted Hero. Hero said ask Classic. I was like, alright, if Hero wants me to ask Classic, I'll ask Classic. I think Classic had a lot of good moments throughout this series. And then especially keeping in mind that it's like 5 AM for Classic. Honestly, I think he did quite well. Put on a good show. And made Serral work for it. In the end, it is Serral who walks away with 150 bucks. Classic walks away with 50. And take a little look once more, guys. Obviously, always make sure to show some love to my team one way or the other. Exclamation mark, Basilisk. There are very various ways to do it. Joining Discord is awesome. If you use Twitter, there's also a Blue Sky. I have to update the link. I don't have an account yet, so I don't know how to find it. We'll get there. YouTube follow is much appreciated, as there is various contests on the YouTube channel, including Serral and Reynor playing Portal. That is the thing. Alright, we'll go over the results one time. Exclamation mark B. 500 bucks was handed out to our video gamers tonight. Matt won a very close and contested series over Bully with a bit of a dirty game 5, but I guess there is no love in Starcraft. It's always war. Mindo VK showed us that whatever happened last time was absolutely not a fluke. Got a 3-0 victory over Baby Marine a while ago. Baby Marine wanted to run it back. Mindo said, sure, I wanted to run it back. And it's another 3-0 for Mindo, which is very impressive. Young Yakov showed us that, again, he is an undisputed top 5 Zerg in Europe with a 3-0 victory over Eva. And last but not least, the GOAT showed us that it doesn't really matter who we send him. He requested a Korean. He said he already plays Clem and MaxPax all day, every day. And obviously with Reynor being over in Korea. But Reynor played last week. I was like, alright, let's dig a little, let's see. I thought Hero would be cool. Unfortunately, it didn't work out this time, but maybe for Big Brain Bouts number 100, perhaps we can do Hero versus Serral there. What actually is the loco maneuver? Alright, that's a fair question. So it's not truly a loco maneuver. I believe DMaga was the first Zerg to ever do it. But the European pros called it the loco maneuver. They started running with it. Loco has embraced it. So the idea of the loco maneuver is the following. As you know, carriers have interceptors, right? And interceptors, they go in circles. If you drop a parasitic bomb on carriers and Tempest, the parasitic bomb deals damage in an area around the unit that you cast it on. If you send all of your Corruptors on top of the Sky Golden Armada army, then the carrier interceptors will be on top of the Corruptors that are on top of the carriers that are on top of a unit with Parasitic Bomb. So basically, Parasitic Bomb blows up all the interceptors, and the Corruptors don't have to kill interceptors. Corruptors can just kill the carriers and the Tempest, but the Para Bomb, instead of just dealing damage to the big, high HP units, deals a lot of damage to the interceptors that makes them disappear. That is the loco maneuver. And we'll always call it the loco maneuver. And it really makes a very big difference, because in the past, the Corruptors would just be at range, and then Parasitic Bomb, it's like, okay, it softens up carriers and Tempest a little bit, but it doesn't really kill them. But by sending the Corruptors on top of it, you're basically dealing double, triple damage, and the carriers deal 0 damage. So it is, if you can get away with it, it's a really good move. Downside of it is, if a bunch of Archons stand underneath Tempest and carriers, the Archons are in range, something they never are. So that is why that first fight on the left side went pretty good for Classic, because he had 11 Archons starting that fight. The second time, he only had like 4 or 5. I think 5 in the beginning, but 1 died immediately. Yeah, and then the Zerg can justify that move, and it will often go a lot better. I'll take a very tiny break. I hope that answer was good enough. Give me 2-3 minutes, guys, and if there are any other questions after this, we'll get back to it. If there are no other questions, then we will wrap it up, and I'll send you guys over to a other video gamer. I'll be right back. 2-3 minutes. See you guys soon.